शादी सुहेल सईद हुसाना 27, मुस्तफ़ा महमूद खालिद हसूना 26, सफ़ा नज़र जमील हसूना 26, अहमद मगदी अहमद हसूना 26, नस्मा साले अली हसूना 25, इब्राहिम अली हसन हसूना 25, आया खमीस अता हसूना 25, मोहम्मद फजल हामिद हसूना 22, वर्दा रमेज अमीन हसूना 21, बसमा साले अली हसूना 21, महा रमेज अमीन हसूना 18, अब्दुल रहमान मोहम्मद मुती हसूना 17, सारा साले अली हसूना 15, अब्दुल्ला मोहम्मद फजल हामिद हसूना 13, लमा महमूद हसूना 13, मलक बिलाल मोहम्मद हसूना 12, अहमद होसम अमीन हसूना 12, मोहम्मद बिलाल मोहम्मद हसूना 11, अहमद हसन अली हसूना 11, सामिर अहमद मोहम्मद हसूना 10। तो पेश है हमारा नाटक 7 Jewish Children।
Tell her it's a game.
Tell her it's serious. But don't frighten her. Don't tell her. They'll kill her.
Tell her it's important to be quiet. Tell her she can have cake if she's good.
Tell her to curl up as if she's in bed, but not to sing. And tell her not to come out.
Tell her not to come out even if she hears shouting. Don't frighten her.
Tell her not to come out even if she hears nothing for a long time.
Shh.
Tell her we will come and find her. Tell her we'll be here all the time.
Tell her something about the men. Tell her they are bad in the game.
Just tell her it's a story. Tell her they'll go away. Tell her she can make them go away if she's really still.
By magic.
But not to sing.
Tell her it's a photograph of her grandmother and her uncle and me.
Tell her her uncles died.
Don't tell her they were killed.
Tell her they were killed.
Don't frighten her.
Tell her her grandmother was clever.
But don't tell her what they did.
Tell her she was brave.
Tell her she taught me how to make cakes.
But please don't tell her what they did.
Tell her something.
Tell her more when she's older.
Tell her there were people who hated Jews.
Don't tell her that.
Tell her it's over now.
Tell her there are still people who hate Jews.
Tell her there are people who love Jews.
Don't tell her to think Jews are not Jews.
Tell her more when she's older.
Tell her how many when she's older.
Tell her it was before she was born and she's not in danger.
Don't tell her there is any question of danger.
Tell her we love her.
Tell her, dead or alive, her family all love her.
Tell her her grandmother would be proud of her.
Don't tell her that we're going forever.
Tell her she can write to her friends. Tell her her friends can even maybe come and visit.
Tell her it's sunny there.
Tell her we're going home.
Tell her it's the land God gave us.
Don't tell her religion.
Okay? Tell her her lots of great granddads.
Don't tell her he was driven out.
Tell her. Of course tell her. Tell her everyone was driven out and the country is waiting for us to come home.
Don't tell her she doesn't belong here.
Tell her, of course she likes it here, but she like it even more there.
Tell her it's an adventure.
Tell her no one will tease her. Tell her she will have new friends. Tell her she can take her toys.
Don't tell her she can take all her toys.
Tell her she's a special girl.
Tell her about Jerusalem.
Don't tell her who they are.
Tell us something. Tell her they're Bedouin. They travel about.
Yes. Tell her about camels in the desert and tents.
Tell her they live in tents.
Tell her this wasn't their home.
Don't tell her home, not home. Tell her they're going away. And don't tell her. They don't like her.
Tell her to be careful.
Don't tell her who used to live in this house. And no, don't tell her. Her great grandfather used to live in this house.
No, but don't tell her that Arabs used to sleep in her bedroom.
So tell her not to be rude to them.
And tell her not to be frightened. Tell her not to be frightened.
Don't tell her she can't play with the children.
Don't tell her she can have them in the house.
Tell her they have plenty of friends and family.
Tell her they have land for miles and miles all around.
Tell her again. This is our promised land.
Don't tell her. They said it was a land without people.
And don't tell her I wouldn't have come if I had known.
Tell her maybe we can share.
Don't tell her that.
Tell her we won. Tell her her brothers are heroes. Tell her how big their armies were. Tell her how we turned them back. Tell her we're fighters. Tell her we've got new land.
Don't tell her.
Don't tell her the trouble about the swimming pool.
Tell her it's our water. We have the right. It's not the water for their fields.
Don't tell her anything about water. And don't tell her about the bulldozers. Don't tell her not to look at the bulldozers. Don't tell her it was knocking the house down.
Tell her it's a building site.
Don't tell her anything about the bulldozers.
Don't tell her about the queues at the checkpoint.
Tell her we'll be there in no time.
Don't tell her anything she doesn't ask.
Don't tell her the boy was shot.
Don't tell her anything.
Tell her we're making new farms in the desert.
Don't tell her about the olive trees.
Tell her we're building new towns in the wilderness.
Don't tell her they throw stones.
Tell her they're not much good against tanks.
Don't tell her that.
Don't tell her that we set off bombs in cafes.
Tell her. Tell her we set off bombs in cafes.
Tell her to be careful. Don't frighten her.
Tell her we need the wall to keep us safe. Tell her they want to drive us into the sea.
Tell her they don't.
Tell her they want to drive us into the sea. Tell her we'll kill far more of them.
Don't tell her that.
Tell her that. Tell her we're stronger. Tell her we are entitled. Tell her they don't understand anything except violence.
Tell her we want peace.
Tell her we're going swimming.
Tell her she can't watch news.
Tell her she can watch cartoons.
Tell her she can stay up late and watch Friends.
Tell her they are attacking with rockets.
Don't frighten her.
Tell her only a few of us have been killed.
Tell her the army has come to our defense.
Oh, don't tell her about her cousin who refused to join the army.
Don't tell her how many of them have been killed.
Tell her the Hamas fighters have been killed.
Tell her they're terrorists.
Tell her they're filth.
Don't.
Don't tell her about the family of dead girls.
Tell her you can't believe what you see on the television.
Tell her we killed the babies by mistake.
Don't tell her anything about the army.
Tell her! Tell her about the army! Tell her to be proud of the army! Tell her about the family of dead girls! Tell her their names, why not? Tell her the whole world knows, why shouldn't she know? Tell her there are dead babies! Did she see babies? Tell her she's got nothing to be ashamed of! Tell her they did it to themselves! Tell her they want their children killed to make people sorry for them! Tell her sorry for them. Tell her not to be sorry for them. Tell her we are the ones to be sorry for. Tell her they can't talk suffering to us. Tell her we are the